I'd like to introduce Ian from England, who takes LDN for multiple sclerosis. Good morning, Ian.
Good morning.
Could you tell me when you were diagnosed with MS?
I was diagnosed with primary progressive MS in '99.
Right. And had you had symptoms prior to that?
I'd had symptoms, but we didn't know whether it was the MS or I'd had operations on my ears, whether that affected it. So it took a little while to go through that.
Okay. And how old were you when you were diagnosed?
56,
Right.
I think.
Which is quite late, isn't it, really, for
Well, yes.
such a diagnosis? What impact did that have on your life?
Well, it meant that the work I was doing as self-employed engineer in fitting, which made it much too dangerous to do the job.
Mm-hmm.
And it gradually got worse, and eventually I had to give up work, which is around 2002, I think, when I'd actually finished.
Right. And what symptoms were you experiencing at that time?
Mainly walking awkwardly, as always drunk all the time, weakness and balance mainly.
Mm-hmm. And before you found LDN, what would you have rated your quality of life on a score of 1 to 10, 10 being the best?
Well, comparing it with like today, it would have been quite high, say 9, 8, 9.
Mm-hmm.
Could get ranked reasonably well then.
Right.
But now things have gradually got worse. I'm in a wheelchair most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Still try and be independent as I can, but...
Yes. So how did you hear about LDN?
I heard about LDN from a friend that was taking it in Torquay. Then I started trying it, and I found it was very helpful. With mood, bladder, stiffness, it helped it all. Generally, everything felt a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And as I've been on different drugs from the hospitals and the consultant with LDN, what I've done, when I've had a new drug or whatever, something different, I stopped my LDN for a week or two to see what effects I had, and then restarted it. And I found that after about the first 10 days of stopping LDN, my legs would get stiffer and I had to run to the toilet more often. So I started again, and I found that it's working.
Oh, that's good. How did you manage to get a prescription for LDN? Would your own doctor prescribe it?
No. I originally got my prescription from a doctor in Cheddar. I can't even think of his name now. But when he retired, or he was going to retire, from there on...
Dr. David Dowson, probably, was it?
Sorry?
Dr. David Dowson?
That's the one. Yep,
yeah.
You've got it. I couldn't remember it offhand. But since he has retired, Jeremy Hobart, my consultant at Torbay Hospital, has been giving me my prescriptions.
Oh, that's good.
Still a private prescription, but he's actually prescribing it.
Yes. Well, that's a help, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
So how long have you been taking LDN?
I was trying to think about that earlier. I must have been taking it about 5, 6 years, I think.
Oh, right. So a while.
Quite a while, yes.
Mm-hmm. So you think your quality of life is a lot greater taking LDN than it would be without?
It definitely improves it, yes. Like I say, if I'm on different drugs, I stop the LDN to see whether the drug is suitable on its own, or when I start LDN again, will I get an improvement? And I do.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say it's sort of I can run instead of walking, but it is definitely a more comfortable improvement.
Yes. What would you say to other people with primary progressive who are thinking of trying LDN?
Well, personally, I would say try it for a couple of months, see how it suits you. I think it affects everybody differently.
Okay. Thank you very much for sharing your experience with us, Ian.
No problems whatsoever. Okay, thank you.
That